3 in the Spiritual Guidance Certification Program, the Class 3 in the Archangels Abundance course with Philip Montrose and Jane Montrose, and all of you. This is an individual and collective awakening experiential learning experience, and we're going to go further into connecting with angels and oracles today and developing your intuition. And this is going to be part of what is the Heart of Success roadmap that comes with this course. It's in your, that's in the Ultimate Paradigm Shift book, that Heart of Success 7-part roadmap. And each class we're doing one of the steps, and today is we're focusing particularly on clearing resistance. And that's a key part of the spiritual journey. And it's something that, in a way, something we don't like, but we need. Those uncomfortable parts of ourselves. I came across a really appropriate quote I wanted to share with you from Viktor Frankl, the psychiatrist who survived the Nazi concentration camps. And he said, when we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. So a lot of times we do everything we can to avoid these things. And that's the beauty of the tarot cards, because they somehow come up and they show us something that's very challenging and in a way confronts us. And if we're open to it, it can open up just amazing insights and learning in a beautiful, harmonious way. So we're going to be going into that, opening to your magnificence, more abundance in that too, getting in sync with the divine. We're also going to continue the tarot readings, maybe do 2 if we have time today. That's the plan. And learn more about how to use the oracles, which hopefully you've been practicing on your own. And bringing in angelic support throughout this class and throughout the course. Jane, do you want to continue on here with our the Healing with Angelic EFT, which is part of the course, and today we'll focus on too?
Yeah, and of course that's we're moving into clearing resistance and also expanding, so all at one time. And it's interesting when you look at the processes that we go through with the oracle cards and connecting with the angels. The oracle cards themselves are not necessarily healing tools. I think understanding things can be healing in itself. So you can't say that they're, you can't compartmentalize them too much. But we use EFT, and here with the angels, we use what we call angelic EFT. So we're going to be doing some of that today in a really special way that I find extremely effective and is useful with many, many things. It's highly spiritual.
By the way, EFT is emotional freedom techniques, just in case anyone doesn't know that.
Right. And we did do a little bit of it in the overview class. We did the happy tap, which is it's a really fun EFT technique. And if you missed that, it's on your resource page. You can look at it and learn that technique too, which is there are variations on ways to use EFT.
Yeah. In the
before we go
overview
into it,
webinar.
I want the right overview webinar. I just want to start with, as I often do, with just taking a few breaths and grounding ourselves into this experience that we're having together. And with that, I also want to invite Archangel Metatron to bless us with his light and love. He's, I've mentioned him before. He's one of the angels who's considered to be closest to God, to our Creator. And he is just a magnificent being of light, often experienced as golden, luminous white light. So now we're just going to quickly take a few breaths, and you can just invite in the love and light from Metatron while we do this. And of course, if you want to close your eyes and just be focused on your body and the energy, that's always good. Releasing with the exhale, which I think really does support us in being more present. asking any energy that's not your own to leave your space. And just be there in the wholeness of yourself, connected with the love in your heart. That's a good start. Thank you. Just a few breaths can make a big difference. And I think it's so beautiful for us to come together and be fully present together. So again, thank you. So as I mentioned, we already did the happy tap, and with our focus here on abundance, which you could actually say is also one of the most important indicators of being in sync with the divine and with the angels of, or the energy of the angels and the beings of light who are surrounding us. The key then is partly opening to our magnificence, to our full potential, to the possibilities that await us. And I'm mentioning this here because when we're looking at doing in angelic EFT here, we can be focusing on that kind of openness and just noticing where we might have resistance to it in our belief systems or our feelings. Like if you think, well, gee, it would be wonderful to have more abundance, and a little voice inside you says that'll never happen. Right. That's something to focus on, to clear with this energy of what we're going to be using, the violet flame with EFT. And I'm just curious, overall, how many people have used the violet flame already for healing? So we have some, not everybody. It's really a wonderful thing that has been blessed to us by the masters and the angels, and it is an energy that is the violet color is the highest vibratory color in the rainbow, and it has an ability to transmute lower frequencies of energy into love and light. So whatever it is that you might be holding on to, if you're not feeling, if you're just feeling like there's something wrong, I'm just not in a very good place, or if you know that something is disturbing you, you can use this process. And we're combining it with EFT because just tapping moves energy. So we're going to invite in the violet flame and use what we call continuous tapping, which is just tapping through the points. I'm not saying anything about it, but I'm not even really, you don't even have to be thinking much about it, but just as we're using the violet flame, tapping. And the reason that it has not been available for very long is that humanity has been in a place where it would be misused. So it just became available to humanity again sometime in I think sometime in the 20th century. Do you know, Gretchen, offhand, when that happened? I'm just not sure. I don't know if anybody knows, but it's fairly recently with the energy of the new age moving in, of the age of Aquarius. So any questions about that before we start? I'm going to guide you through it. So, okay. And so, oh, yes, Mary, hi.
Where would I be able to find the violet flame? Is there a sound recording of it, or verbiage on reading about it? How
well, you can look up violet flame on the internet. There's a lot about it. There are a lot of videos on YouTube. It's very available. And for the process today, I'm going to guide you through it and invite in. Okay. We're going to invite in Archangel Zadkiel and Holy Amethyst, his twin flame, who are they are the archangels who are connected also with Saint Germain. All of them are connected with the violet flame. So we're going to invite them in to support us, and then I'll just share the way that I invited in and use it. And then I think really in the long term, it's about and I'll be saying this, it's about using the flame that feels perfect to you and looks in your mind's eye perfect to you. Because some people will go on the internet and they'll say, well, yeah, this most super violet flame process, you have to do it exactly this way. And what I think is that we can use our intuition and our hearts to tell us what's right for us. So let's just go ahead. And then if there are questions afterwards, you can ask about that too. So we start by closing our eyes and of course, opening again to that love in our hearts as we prepare to open to the blessings that these magnificent angels provide. And we can also imagine Archangel Metatron still overlighting all of this that's happening. And I think a lot of times people wonder about feeling safe. So in any situation, you can also invite Archangel Michael to be with you because he is the angel of protection and security. So anytime you feel like you want that and want that strength from him, we can just be inviting him in too. And then, of course, we want to invite in Archangel Zadkiel and his twin flame, Holy Amethyst. And as her name implies, we're wanting to invite in the kind of light that you see in an amethyst crystal. From those very, very dark violet colors to the beautiful kind of soft violet colors, all the way to white it might be. And just ask them to surround you with the perfect violet flame for you. And you might experience it as a flame. It's a cool flame. It's a beautiful supporting light. I experience it more as a violet flame that sparkles. And that sparkling light is the thing that what it's doing is it's clearing congestion. And it is, if you ask that light, that flame to surround you, just a beautiful flame clearing out whatever it is that maybe you don't need in your energy field right now. And then inviting it into your body, into all of the cells of your body, all the way down to the atoms themselves. And I mention this because what we really want to envision is that space of light that flows around the electrons in the atoms. So there is, as we know, we're not solid actually. Most of us is spaces between things. And it is these spaces that become congested. So it's like we have a clogged up drain or something. We have this kind of muddy, mucky substance that is clogging the light that is wanting to flow through us. And we can ask the violet flame to flow through and to clear out whatever it can of any of that congestion that we hold in the energy that's running through our body. And this allows the electrons to spin more freely, which provides more energy to us on all levels. So just imagine now the perfect violet flame for you. It may be a deep, rich violet color. It may be a combination of colors. Maybe big flames of violet. Maybe more like sparkles, like I imagine. Just asking it to do the perfect job for you of freeing those spaces from whatever is congesting them, which may be fears that we have about ourselves. It might be beliefs that we have. Anything that you notice right now. And as you do this, you may notice, and I'm noticing it now, it really is amazing to me because when I first started doing this regularly, I didn't know what to expect, but I kept noticing after a few minutes, I would start to feel really happy. And that is what tends to happen, is that you start feeling light and joyful. And it makes sense because if you're releasing kind of all that weight that's kind of been holding you down, that would be the result. And it's alchemy. Saint Germain is known as an alchemist. It's not a mental process. It's a transformative, a transmuting process of turning one thing into another thing. And of course, this is what we want, is more love and more light in our field and all through us. And you might feel that freedom, feel more freedom of energy flowing through your body. I forgot to mention the tapping. I was so engaged. So we can do a little bit of that continuous tapping, starting at the head. And just do it at your own rate as you continue to imagine that violet flame. And if you don't feel like tapping, that's fine too. But it is interesting how it does move energy through. You might find you feel even better doing a round or two of this tapping. And I'm assuming everybody knows where the points are. If you don't, you start at the top of your head, tapping with a couple fingers lightly, 5 or 10 times, then inside of the eyebrow, side of the eye, just below the eye where the bone is, between the nose and the mouth in the central area. Same with the chin, right on the chin. And then the collarbones towards the center, the ends of the collarbones underneath on the underside. And then like you're giving yourself a hug on the sides of the body. Again, feeling that violet flame flowing through. And we can end with the reset. Tapping on the top of your head, knowing anything is possible. And transmutation is happening now. Let's do that. And then just breathe. And it is a really amazing thing that you can use it with just about anything you might be experiencing. And Saint Germain, the Ascended Masters, are people who are channeling the Ascended Masters, often recommend doing it as a daily process for a while until you feel a little clearer, or just whenever you notice that you need a little tune-up, because it's very simple. In my experience, it doesn't take much time. I forgot I was going to ask Gretchen what she was noticing doing that. We work together a lot and do processes together. What did you notice doing that?
Do you mean the tapping or the
Yeah, when
meditation?
the violet flame connecting with the angels.
Yeah, I felt like I was standing in the middle of a big amethyst geode. It was like life size, and I'm standing in this like geode chamber. It was beautiful. And I could really just feel the light just kind of permeate every little nook and cranny. That was really interesting. To feel it almost like a liquid light, just kind of seeping into all the areas that it needed to be.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It was really beautiful. And the tapping, I'm just really, I feel happy now.
I do too. How many feel happier? Just curious. Most of you, that's good. Yeah. And if you're just starting to use it, just keep with it. And of course, maybe it's not for you. That's another possibility, because one thing is not necessarily for everyone. Kate, were you wanting to say something?
Yeah.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes. By the way, it's nice to see you. Kate has been very busy and hasn't been able to be with us.
I am happy to be here. I could feel some of that stuff just leaving me as we were tapping on the violet flame. Many years ago, I have no idea, I've lost track. I was taught a prayer with the violet flame in St. Michael that I have used in my class before my classes. I sort of use it like an ionizer for the classroom before anybody arrives. And
yeah,
the most amazing thing about it is since I've been doing this, I don't have negative people show up anymore.
In your classes?
In my classes.
Well, that's great.
They
wouldn't like that.
It's a wonderful thing. But I really do. I use a violet flame and a prayer to Saint Michael to sort of clear the energy of the room. And I've been using this prayer for years. I'm not even sure where I got it from, but it works so beautifully. And I have not heard anybody talk about the violet flame, I think, since I learned this. So I'm really happy
until now.
About it now.
Yeah, it's wonderful. And I assume if anybody wants to know that prayer, they could email you, because we have your name and email. And it says Kathleen Mathis.
It does.
And it's Kate. Yes.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
Kate. Yeah, Kate Hunt Mathis.
It's Kate. So, and if
I mean, I am a Kathleen.
Just know that it says Kathleen. That I'm just saying that because that's what they have to find. Not
my
Kate.
Mother called me Kathleen, but otherwise everybody else calls me Kate.
Yeah, I call you Kate for sure.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. That's wonderful. So Mary, did that answer some of your questions about how to do it? Good. It is very simple, and it is a lot of it is just following what feels right to you, I think, personally. What do you think, Philip?
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. That's one of the nice things about that tool or that practice, the bringing the violet flame, when you can add it on to virtually anything.
Right. And of course, here you have an opportunity to connect with more of the archangels too, Zadkiel and Holy Amethyst. Beautiful, beautiful beings of light. And I think I did want to mention with this course, that is one of the really important parts of it, is having those regular, daily, if possible, activities where you're connecting with the angels, so that if it isn't the case already, they become part of your life as much as anyone else. And I feel that they're as present as people I know and love, as present as the dogs are who share our space. And such amazing blessings. They have changed my life in ways that I would never have imagined. And their love is so deep and so beautiful. I think it can't help but light us up and really facilitate that transformation and opening to our magnificence, because they also, everything they would say, if you are able to hear messages from them, is about how wonderful we are and how deserving of love we are and how they want to help us to move forward on our journeys. So it is, to me, just one of the most amazing opportunities ever. And that's
so wherever
angelic
you are,
EFT with the violet.
So wherever you are in that process, if it's very vivid and easy to connect with angels, great. If it's something new or you're just beginning, give yourself time and practice, and it may be different for you than it is for the next person. It may be different.
It will be.
It may be different from day to day for you.
Right.
So be open to that. And the main prerequisite, as we mentioned, is to invite the angels in. That's about the only thing you need to do, is just request it.
Right.
Be patient and open and receptive.
And be grateful. I always want to remember just to express my great gratitude to Amethyst, Holy Amethyst, and Archangel Zadkiel, and Saint Germain, who was with us in the background, and Metatron, of course, and Archangel Michael. We had quite a collection. And he's another one who, if you want to feel protected and also stronger, he's great for strength. He or his supporting angels, they'll be with you right away, anytime, if you're coming from a pure heart. That's all you need to do.
Right. Give yourself some time and practice and explore this. Play around with it.
Yeah.
So we want to go in this next segment here on reviewing that roadmap, that Heart of Success roadmap, which is on page 73 in the Ultimate Paradigm Shift. And again, we're on step 4 today. Step 1 in the first overview class was set your course. Step 2, uncover your heartfelt joy. And these follow the classes, class 2, class 3. Step 3 is connect with your heartfelt dreams last time. And today we're talking about clearing resistance. And we're doing that because of the theme of having more abundance, which is going to open us up to our potential. So that takes us to what is abundance. It's interesting, sometimes when we discuss these things, we don't define our terms, and abundance is on different levels. In essence, it's having the resources you want when you need it. And that could be physical. We often think of physical things, but it could be emotional things, people, connections with people, relationships. It could be mental things, learning, having the things you want to learn about and grow. And it could be joy, could be spiritual, which might be joy, spiritual things where you're connecting with the universe on a bigger picture level. So whatever that is, the combinations is what we're amplifying here and we're exploring. And part of it is the healing, as we said, the clearing resistance today. And Ralph Waldo Emerson said, most of the shadows of this life are caused by standing in one's own sunshine. So how do we get out of our way, so to speak? A couple metaphors here about how to do that and visualize it in a moment. One way of looking at this, and it's worth stepping back and doing this when we think of abundance, we're all interested in abundance, right, is what we call the ultimate solution. And this is in the Paradigm Shift book, page 15. And what that is when you want abundance, what is the solution for it? What is the big picture? So if you want more relationships, what is it that you're looking for? What's the big picture behind it? If you want more resources, more material things, what's behind that? It could be love. It could be a sense of security, depending on what it is. So that's the cause of the problem is maybe you don't feel loved. Maybe you don't feel connected. Maybe you feel like you're unsure of the physical world. That's the ultimate problem. And so if you want the relationships, the material things, whatever, the learning, what's the second part of this ultimate solution is to what's the fastest and easiest way to get there. And that is an open-ended question, which you take to your soul, and an answer is usually provided. Maybe just look for.
It can be healing.
It could be, healing. I need to find a healing way, and I'm open. I'm asking the universe and angels to find ways to heal,
right,
or connect with the right people, such as in the spiritual guide program. And then the follow-up, the third part is the solution. What's the real goal? How do you get there? How do you get this? You embrace the support. You follow through with the healing or whatever you've discovered.
right.
So that takes us to the abundance that you're looking for, or one thing that we can focus on now in this exercise.
Can I mention one thing?
Yes.
I think an important one, which relates a lot to abundance and prosperity, maybe financial prosperity, is that often people are seeking freedom.
Right.
And I think abundance, just the idea of abundance, it's like everything, there's a freedom that we have because we have all the resources that are necessary for us to create the lives that we really want to create. So to have freedom, and that would be another one, like to have more love, to have more freedom, whatever it is, how do you get there? And a lot of times it is like Violet Flame would be a good place.
And it could be more security.
Yeah, right.
You may need that, and that's fine, whatever it is, and just be open to it, the deeper as cause and solution to it. And that's a way of manifesting an abundance here. So for this short little visualization, you could imagine that you want the abundance in whatever, the physical realm, emotional connections with people, more freedom, whatever it is you're looking for. And imagine that what's blocking your way, as an analogy, could be if you're going to remodel your house and have a beautiful room, but it's all cluttered and it's all falling apart. So you can imagine just or having that room come into order, getting rid of the clutter. So if you're just looking within whatever that is you want to have abundance, you want that more freedom or that loving relationship, that material thing that you're looking for, more security, safety. And you picture that room, which represents the challenges, and you just start to imagine it becoming more and more ordered, more and more harmonious. And you can invite in the angels like Zadkiel or Saint Germain or Amethyst, like we did previously, and just help you easily, gracefully have the room just become more and more ordered and just get more and more in order and just feeling like your life is falling into place harmoniously. So you can go forward and just release the old things so you can have a new structure. And if you want, you can open your eyes and just feel that you have a little bit more order, a little bit more support, and more of what you're looking for, the security, the freedom, the love. And what I was mentioning earlier, that quote about you need to let go of things, that Viktor Frankl quote, what psychology, what research has shown, if you want to create a wonderful life, you do have to embrace uncertainty and some of the old thinking. You have to shake things up. And that's why tarot cards can be really wonderful for that. And you have to restructure yourself. And that makes sense because if you're in that dirty, collapsing, decrepit room, how are you going to have the freedom and the love that you're seeking? You have to reorder that room. I want to share just a real brief, I thought appropriate comment from a lady named Ethany. She's has a tarot deck herself, and she talks about how she does tarot. This is a couple sentences. She said, the tarot has been the tool that's allowed me to connect to my spirit guides and my spirituality every day. Why? Because it challenges me. Often a card comes up in a reading for myself or a client that's confronting or with a message that hits home hard. It's a challenge to step up, be accountable, and create the life I want. The tarot cards are my immediate connection to my soul. It navigates me through my challenges and inspires me through the highs of life. And that's part of it. The tarot is a lot of fun and inspirational and enjoyable, but sometimes it does bring up things that make us uncomfortable. We don't know why. And we have these old patterns and reactions, which are completely understandable. You, me, and everyone else on the planet has them. And once you know that, like, hey, it's going to happen. But the beauty is if you reframe that like, oh, I want to grow. I want to go through that. I want to get more to the love, more to the freedom, more to the security, the abundance that I'm seeking. That's the path. That's the way through it. You can't avoid it because if the room is all dirty and decrepit, you can't just pretend it's not there and say, now it's beautiful. You have to start cleaning things up.
Yeah, we have to change.
Yeah. And change can be, depending on the person, difficult or resistant. Some people change easier than others.
Right. I think that one thing I like to keep in mind for myself and for clients and students, I've mentioned those who have taken other courses from us know, we have to recognize that what we see in ourselves as deficient or something that's stuck or that maybe we're not proud of, those things are not us in a real sense. We're love. Those things are the illusion of limitation that is holding us down and preventing us from understanding who we really are and opening fully to our magnificence. So the reason I mention it is because there's never any reason to feel bad about where you might feel blocked. Like, well, gee, there's something wrong with me. I have all these fears. I have this, I have that.
Yeah.
It's okay. We all have some.
Yeah. Yeah.
We have our own. Each of us has our own brand of it, but we all have it.
If you pick the card that says the devil or the ego, depending on the deck, and you say, oh, wow, it's talking about judgment and things like that, I feel really uncomfortable looking at that, on my own judgments. I don't like being judgmental, our higher, but the parts that are reacting to that instead of self-care, loving ourselves, it's an opportunity, and you can explore that and get incredible insights with the tarots and the readings.
Right. And then the ultimate, also the ultimate benefit is that we're raising our vibration. The angels help us with that. All of the healing we do, all of the awareness that we have raises our vibration so that we are drawing more joy, more love, more abundance of material things, maybe, if that's what we want. So we're putting ourselves in a position to have more of all of these things that we want. And that's the best place to be, is in a place of openness. And then, of course, having an intention to receive.
So just opening up the floor here for any comments on that, the third part of the roadmap, clearing resistance, clearing out the junk, or the fourth part, clearing resistance, clearing the room for renovations, the ultimate solution, any of the things we've been doing thus far in this little segment. And I
standing in your own light. I like that.
Welcome. Some people we haven't said hello to have joined us. S to see all of you here. Comment or question on any of that, or something that just came up in the last few minutes that you want to mention? And you can just speak right up.
This is Margaret.
Yes,
I enjoyed the visualization of the room quite a bit, because I think we can all very easily envision a room that is cluttered. You know, we've all had that experience at some point in time. So to be able to just sort of jump in with this idea and then, you know, imagine pulling out each piece. And I felt that it was a very powerful visualization to, and metaphorically clear things, which was very interesting. So thank you for that.
You bet.
And it is actually, the house or home is an archetypal representation of oneself in dreams. So if you have a dream of yourself, like you're in the house and you're stuck in the basement, or you're on the roof, you know, those are kind of opposite experiences. If you're on the roof looking around the universe, you know, your house might be in good order. You might be in the living room and have it full of things. So you can just metaphorically, like Margaret was saying, imagine, look around your house, you know, where in your house might there be congestion? You know, how's the kitchen? You know, what's in the refrigerator?
Yeah, it's an ongoing process, kind of staying clean and pure in a higher vibration and catching things as they come up. And as you go on the journey, one thing, quote, you covered, you could slip back, but there are other things as you go on your journey where you might be addressing things you hadn't realized yet. And it's actually a sign that you're advancing, because now you're able to deal with things at higher levels.
Right. Yeah.
Maybe broader levels too. Any other comments or questions about any of that, the fourth, dealing with resistance, the visualization, anything related? Okay. On to the next segment here, about now going more into the tarot. Jane?
Right. And this is kind of exciting. Philip and I, actually, we got up this morning and started talking about the new moon that's coming. And this may seem like it's completely unrelated, but it actually isn't. And it's related to the readings that we're going to have today in the class. Part, I think, of opening to a more expansive reality involves opening to the forces and cooperating with the forces that are active in our lives, whether we're aware of it or not. So there are the times of year, like the 4 seasons. There are the months of the year. We're in February, and February is a month that holds certain energies. And then there are the lunar phases, the 4, or some people, you know, you can break it down into more parts. The new moons, the full moons, that kind of, there's this rhythm of energy rising and energy falling that is with us every month. So approximately every 28 days, we go through a full cycle of the moon. And it just happens that what is coming up on Friday is the new moon in Aquarius. And the sign that's involved with it, the astrological sign, is where the moon is in the heavens at this time. It's also, we were talking a little bit earlier, it's a super moon. So I think Gretchen mentioned that that means that the moon is closer to the Earth, and that means the energy is more intense. It also happens that the new moon in Aquarius, you can read different things about this on the internet too. Look up, like you can look up new moon in Aquarius and you'll find information about it. In fact, I think I looked up, there was something even in People magazine about it, about the meaning of the new moon in Aquarius. But I read through it. I have an interpretation of it here, and it says change is on its way and it could come quickly. Believe that you can have it. These are just pieces I picked out. Aquarius energy has an electric feel to it. And of course, now we have a super Aquarius energy. And this is from the new moon, energy is rising. It's a good time to start things. Mm-hmm. And like farmers plant seeds at the time of the new moon because the energy is rising from there up all the way to the full moon. So there is that rhythm and a time. There's a time for everything under heaven, as I say. Aquarius energy has an electric feel to it. Certainly, there is a sense that you need to let go of the past and move forward towards your future as soon as possible. And I mention that because what we're also doing, Gretchen and I, we have the Circle of Love and Light. I'll talk a little bit more about that at the end of the class, for if anybody is not aware of it. It's every Sunday. We're going to be talking about it more on Sunday. So it's we're looking at, in terms of these readings, supporting ourselves in opening to this new moon energy, the energy of Aquarius, with creative thinking to bring solutions. So that's what we're going to be doing with our readings today. And this is just another kind of way we can look at how the readings help us, because they will bring more insights than just this description could possibly bring. I actually did a reading for myself on it this morning, and I was quite amazed by it. I had my intention for this particular part of the class also was to talk a little bit more about details of the tarot, because it is a journey for people who are interested in learning about it. It can take years to, I think, to really learn about the tarot. But I don't think that has to prevent any of us from being where we are and receiving a lot from it where we are. It just allows us, I think, it's as with anything, any skill, when we bring more pieces together, we'll have more understanding and ability to translate the messages more deeply. Mm-hmm. In the meantime, how many people are pretty new to the tarot, just out of curiosity? So a fair number. I'm not, I've been using it some, but I still consider myself to be pretty new. I did something because I was going to read to you all the information about the aces, twos, threes, fours, fives, sixes of all the suits. But instead, I went to AI, to artificial intelligence, and I looked up numbers in the tarot, and I have a description of all the numbers, like you're kind of a cheat sheet on how you can look at the numbers in the suits. And I all of this stuff that I'm going to show you is it on the resource page now, Philip?
Yeah, I put it on the resource page. This is from ChatGPT, the AI, artificial intelligence. It's very good.
Yeah, which actually it's a wonderful description of the numbers. And so then I did it with the face cards. So there's one for you. We can look at what the meanings of the face cards are. And I like these because they're simple. This is not long.
That's where you'll find the sheet.
Yeah, if you can go back to where we were, then there are the this is the major arcana cards. I was inspired and it's all on one page, just a very simple, and actually what it has is a lot of keywords you can use to have an understanding of what you're noticing in the cards, and they're progressions. If you look at the numbers. It's a progression from 1, which is where you're opening to a new beginning of something. So a 1 of air or ace of air would be opening to a new experience related to your thinking and those things that are connected with that. So going down the numbers, think of it as a process going through all the way to 9 and 10, which takes you back to 1. I think I also personally, and this is just another perspective. The Law of One teachings present one of the, I think, most evolved perspectives on the Tarot. And so I also looked up the Law of One in the Tarot. And there's a summary there of, and if you don't know what the Law of One is, you can look that up on the internet too. There's lots about it. It's Ra, and the Law of One is related to Egyptian in origin. So there's the Law of One generally, and then the major arcana according to Ra. And it's all in that document. There are 6 pages. So you can go through, and that's you could say, an evolved way of looking at the major arcana. So it's really exciting. I'm going to be using these myself. I printed it out and just to want to continue to go deeper with my understanding of the Tarot. So were there any questions about what I was saying and where to find it?
Yeah, where?
Yes, Mary.
I'm sorry, go ahead. Yep. There's a lot of, is it hieroglyphics? The symbols that are on the cards. I don't know where I can go to find those. Is that in there also?
In the Angel Wisdom cards?
Yeah. I'm almost sure.
I can go over that. I can go over that with you. I could switch.
You mean in the Radley Valentine, the 4 suits? The air, fire, earth, water.
I have to get
it's the one. They're
with
on the
Valentine
card itself,
yeah,
not in the corners.
Well, this is really good to know. I have to get out some of these cards. Yeah, I'm going to switch.
They are described in the beginning of the Radley Valentine guidebook, what each of the suits are too. Yeah.
Yep, but it's the hieroglyphic drawing on the card itself. Oh, maybe it's in this.
Oh, I am. Phil, can you put it on so I can show?
I'm sorry. It's probably in the Sacred Destiny cards that I've been using. Okay. So I'm okay. I misspoke.
I don't think they have symbols on them.
Okay.
They don't have symbols on them.
Yeah.
Anyhow,
okay.
Sometimes. So you understand with Angel Wisdom what the symbols mean?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We went over that last time.
Okay. Yeah, we've done that. Well, I just wanted to make sure she understood it because it's very helpful.
Yes.
So
I'm sorry, can I just say something?
Yes. Hi, Maria. I couldn't see you. You're kind of down at the bottom of my screen.
So the major arcana, and I believe it's in all across the tarot, is that they're associated with an astrological sign. And so I don't know if that's what you were referring to. For example, we have like the Justice card, and then you'll see the Libra sign right there. And so
there is
there is that correlation.
There is a lot of symbolism. You can, if you want to connect it with astrology, you can.
Okay.
There are
astrology.
other things that you'll see on cards.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily look into all of those things. If you're interested in astrology, that's something that you can certainly look into. And you could look at it in artificial intelligence. Can you say what the website is, Phil, the URL for the website for the artificial intelligence?
Oh, Chat GPT. Yeah, maybe I should just put it in the
chat box, because that's something you could look up, astrology and the tarot.
Yeah, it's actually
it's
to
really
get there.
remarkable what you can see there.
Yeah, it's chat dot it's https:/chat.openai.com. Chat.openai.com. Yeah.
And it's all open source, so you can use it. You can't claim it's yours, of course, but you can use it. I'm sure people do claim it's theirs.
Yeah, if you wanted to say what is the astrological sign with each card, you could ask that to ChatGPT, you know.
Right, right. Anyhow, there were a couple of things I did want to mention still about the tarot, just from my own perspective. I think it's important to prepare your deck. And one of the things that I do first, or the thing I do first, I don't know where. Oh, here it is I use selenite. Selenite cleanses things. There are different ways that people cleanse decks, and I use selenite. This is a heart. I have all kinds of selenite shapes here, little pieces, big pieces. Like these are just selenite sticks. Like you could put one on your deck to cleanse it.
They're
and
inexpensive,
I think that's
too.
Yeah, they are inexpensive. You can get them on the internet. And I love having selenite around. I love the selenite heart. I hold it, and it just it feels just so beautiful. I think also just to remember that it is a sacred process, and to come to it from that heart-centered place. I also feel personally, I like to just go through all of the cards in the deck after they're cleared with the selenite. And I just look at them just to get a sense of them. And I think that there's something also about touching each one. You're creating a relationship with it. So you're touching it and then touching each one individually and going through. I think that that's really helpful. And I have shown before how here's the major arcana. Well, I'd have to do it with my thing here. Going to my other webcam. Just if you just fan out the cards before you select, this is a small grouping of them, the major arcana, but you're touching them all. So you have an intention for your reading. And then I just spread them out and touch them, and I draw the card I'm drawn to. Like I'll just look like, where's my attention going? And it's like, here's the card. Or if I'm drawing a few cards, I'll just draw one at a time. But I think, personally, and I think Gretchen does this too. We only talked just very, very briefly about it, but how do you feel about that for selecting cards?
Yeah, I use what feels really intuitive. And since I work a lot with Reiki energy, I also I feel like I can feel tingles in certain fingers when I'm over certain cards. So I use a bunch of different ways really to do that. Sometimes if I'm attuning with angels and a number comes into my head, I'll count that many out and turn that card over, the last card over. So sometimes I work with numbers, sometimes I work with just my own hand energy, and sometimes I just work with my just straightforward intuition. I figure I'm going to get the right card no matter what. So
right. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's good to have that assurance. And before I spread them out, also I do shuffle them. I do regular kind of like shuffling if I can. Some of the decks are very, very unshuffleable, which I find a little frustrating. And you can kind of shuffle a little bit this way. But this is another reason I like to spread them out rather than drawing them, because you might put them back and end up drawing three of the same ones again because they're all together if you're just drawing one after another. So I feel that for me, that works really well. And the guidebooks, each of the guidebooks has ideas. The authors of the oracle decks and tarot decks share their ideas of how they set things up and how they choose the cards, etc. So those are very helpful to read too. And I always read the beginning of the guidebook when I get the deck too. So I just wanted to talk a little bit more about the tarot and just assure you wherever you are, it's a beautiful journey. And of course, Oracle decks too. They're just magnificent tools to work with and treat them with the respect that they deserve and the love. So I think that was about all I wanted to say. Did you have any other thoughts, Gretchen, about general treatment of tarot cards or oracle cards?
Yeah, there's a lot. I mean, most of the oracle cards or the decks of cards now come with these beautiful boxes. Some are even magnetized, for closure, and they're a lot different than they were 20, 30 years ago. They were often in packaging that didn't last very long, and so it was often advised that you kept them in some kind of pouch, or maybe even I have a friend that reads cards that she keeps them in a cloth that she ties over it just to keep them clean and dust free. And she told me when I learned from her that it was one of the ways that we respect what we're receiving, the information we're receiving, is we take care of the items and the tools that we use in our spiritual practices, much like you would with crystals or anything else that you use in any kind of spiritual practices. And so to me, it's, it's something that's very easy to do if you don't want to keep it in the box and you use it all the time. If you keep it in something like a piece of fabric or a cloth or something, or a scarf, that also provides you with a nice little area to lay them out too, that's clean surface as well. So there's lots of ways that you can do it, but keeping it in the box, keeping it in a pouch, keeping it in something that'll keep it clean like a pouch or fabric is always, I think, just a respectful way to take care of the cards.
Yeah. And you do want to just keep them in a place that's special. I keep these little selenite pieces around.
I put some in.
I keep those. I keep them
too.
around my cards all the time.
Right. Yeah, I do too.
Yeah. So are we
we're ready to do a demo? Yes. So we will need a volunteer, someone who hasn't volunteered before. And we thought we'd do the focus on reaching your potential, which of course is going to include abundance. And it might be clearing some of those shadows out of the way in the process, that getting that room clean that we were discussing earlier. And we'll use the Sacred Destiny deck with a single card here.
We're hoping to have 2 readings, and we'll go a little further.
Yeah, we'll see how far we can get with our time. Gretchen?
Yeah, I just want to say, I think Mary had a question, and I think sometimes when we're on the speaker view, if you don't say anything, it doesn't bring you up, so you don't see her waving her hand.
Okay. Okay. Mary,
thank you.
You had a question?
Yeah. What trips me up is if let's just say I was using the cards today for myself, and then my sister comes in and she wants to, I'd like to have one, and she, so I'm like, sure. So, I go and do it. Now it's like a matter of cleaning it, the energy from her having done it on her back to me. How do you clean them in between clients or people's? Or don't you?
There's some ways. One thing that some people say, which I don't do, is you can just, with your intention of clearing, just tap on it and just envision all of the energy falling off. If you use Reiki or just believe in energy, you can hold it and send love to it, which is what I do with my decks. I just send love to them and energy just for a moment until it feels like it's right. So just that's the one I feel like that feels the most sacred to me, just blessing it and asking it to come into harmony with my energy again.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. That was a good question.
Good. So who would like to volunteer to focus on increasing their abundance, or they're actually fulfilling their potential, which also includes increasing their abundance, which means being open to bringing more wonderful things in your life. The more open you are, the more possibilities can come into your life.
So with the Aquarius energy, can I say what I thought might be a good intention for it? Which is, yes, it is. Yeah, it's how can I think more creatively and open to my full potential or my magnificence, or, and of course it can, in that intention, can have whatever it is, can be something specific. I think it is that part about thinking creatively is in harmony with that Aquarian energy too.
So someone who would like to boost their abundance in some area, thinking creatively, reaching their full potential, which is an ongoing process. Someone who hasn't had a chance to volunteer yet, and that person is
Susan Carey.
Oh, Susan, go ahead.
I don't think she volunteered, but I just keep thinking.
Oh, I thought. Oh,
I volunteered her. Yeah, you don't have to do it if you don't want, but
thanks for volunteering me.
Is that okay?
That's fine. Yes, I need to think more creatively. I think yes.
What was it you wanted to manifest to reach your potential? What were you looking to increase your abundance and to reach your full potential?
Well, what kind of business I can create in terms of using cards and doing readings for people.
Okay.
More creatively about it.
I like that. That's certainly right on the mark here. So I have the Sacred Destiny deck. I'm just going to spread them out. I'll do it this way. And I guess we're all maybe a little individual.
Do you have your second, you don't have your second camera?
I didn't set it up, but
hopefully
you can see it. I think I can do it this way as an adaptation. So I'm going to just look for myself which one is feeling right. And I'm getting it's like a magnet. I'm just feeling it's in the center. I have no idea why, because this is not rational. This is intuitive, your intuitive mind. Okay, that's the one. Let me pull it out. And the card is, happiness. Happiness.
Okay.
And to read, which we like these little brief descriptions in the book, the Sacred Destiny Denise Lynn book, which are alphabetically arranged. Happiness, there's the shimmering sunrise, and there's the dolphins, and she also focuses on that sun behind the dolphins, which is a good symbol for happiness. And the interpretation I'll read is the sacred landscape of this card. Click your heels, Susan, and shout for joy. Shout for joy. It doesn't say Susan in the book. The signs are with you. Let your light shine. Abounding good luck awaits you. A gateway is opening for even more happiness. Your life is expanding. Opportunities are emerging. This is the time to go forward with glee. Love deeply and fully. Embrace life with your arms. Goodness is flowing to you. The only thing to be aware of is to monitor your expansion in a metered way, because too much too fast could be overwhelming. Happiness.
Is that what it says?
Yeah. So
it says too much happiness.
Going back. So again, in a reading, if the next part is me to ask Susan because I'm a facilitator here at this point, what is coming up for her? And that's the kind of thing you can say, what's coming up for you when you focus on this card for your abundance and your new business potential. Susan?
Well, the dolphins really, like I'm wearing a dolphin around my neck.
Wow.
Oh, yes.
I've always loved them, the playfulness of them. So it's childlike things again that comes up with that when I think about dolphins, or clicking my heels like Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz. I don't know if you remember, she clicked her heels a few times.
Yes.
Right.
Right.
So what's coming to you about how that might creatively thinking about a potential business with the tarot cards, being playful, clicking your heels, using the dolphins? What's creatively coming to mind, Susan?
Well, it's hard to put that together.
Yes, yes, that's fine. And it's in the process, so it may be coming together now or later, and it may be both. It may be beginning to form right this moment. Is there any resistance coming up, or is it just mostly just opening up to you now?
I'm trying to open up more, like to think out of the box.
Mm-hmm.
And
shall we bring in, since there's a try, since you said try, that is kind of a resistance word. Should we bring in Zadkiel to help open up the creative thinking pathways?
Okay. Yes.
And we could bring in that violet flame again.
Sounds good.
So shall we invite Zadkiel who's aligned the archangel with the violet flame? Bring that into your creative thinking and mind, opening it up. With the riding on the dolphins too, letting them enhance playfully as you open up your creative pathways, just letting go, just to whatever, all possibilities, just whatever's there, sort of surrendering to the playful moment with the purple flame lighting your way. Where you can play with the cards in a playing deck and let the dolphins guide you. And what are you beginning to notice, Susan? And if you want, you can also be doing some tapping on the EFT points to just open the channels, which balances the energies as you're just tapping and releasing, going through around. Yeah, that's good. So, Susan, what are you noticing?
Well, this is kind of, I'm not noticing anything. I'm just, well, I guess I'm noticing.
Experiencing.
Yeah, that's maybe, I was thinking of seeing. I don't see that well.
That's fine. Experiencing.
Experiencing.
Mm-hmm.
Just don't stop yourself, like jump. Dolphin.
Yeah, jumping. And
Yes.
and the card, sometimes you can go into the image, however, either visually or knowingly. And the dolphins are jumping. You said jumping.
Yes.
It's called Imagineering, like Walt Disney's has a department in their Disney Corporation of Imagineering. It's very creative. So if you're in the card, you're jumping with the dolphins with that sunshine. You said playing.
Yes.
What's that like for you?
It's joyful. It's happy. It's freedom. It's the feeling of freedom. Like just let it come up and jump up.
Was that something you'd like to offer or help others with, having more freedom and playfulness?
Yes, but I don't know how. I would love to do that. Yes.
Yeah. So just allow your mind to open up ways of doing that.
We also I could, for that second reading, I could go into combining what she's already had in the reading with some tarot cards.
Why don't we do that? Because it feels like there's a second step to this.
Okay.
Right.
That would be good.
And this is something that I often do myself, is combine tarot cards with oracle cards. We did that, I think, in the last class too. So I was thinking with the tarot, we could do a past, present, future kind of a reading. And I think I mentioned that at the end of the last class. Radley Valentine presents a way of doing that in his guidebook. I was thinking with past, present, future readings are very common, used with oracle cards and tarot. What I've found is they can be more or less effective depending on how specific you are on what each one represents. So if you say, well, this is the card for the past, this is the present, and this is the future. Well, what about them? Are these the things from the past the strengths that I'm bringing forward so that I can be more where I am now today? And then the future is the benefit of continuing in this direction? Or might it be what I was thinking with this one, the reading I did myself this morning was related to the Aquarian, the new moon in Aquarius. Is the past would be letting go of old ways of thinking. What old ways of thinking do you not want to bring into your present life as you prepare to move forward? Mm-hmm. And then for the present, it would be potentially just the energy with the tarot, the major arcana of the tarot, a card that is resonant to provide a little more information on the happiness card from Radley Valentine's tarot perspective. Each deck has its own perspective. So, and that would give you an angel also. And then the future could be actually, I think it just what to release from the past, and then the energy for the present, and then how to do it would be for going into the future. And that was what you were saying. I don't know how to do that, right?
Right.
Does that make sense? So it's like, what do you need to release to embrace the energy fully, and then how do you make that? How will that take you? How do you do that? What do you do to get you where you want to go? Is that clear? I don't know if that's clear. Good. Okay, so I'm going to change my video here back to so are you going to put me into full view and I don't see it when you do that. So
you're in, it's full.
Okay, so I want to shuffle. This is the major arcana. So we're going to do this to get a little more into the energy of the happiness card, like how you would embrace it in relation to the major arcana. And I'll just spread these out here. We have our happiness card above. And so I'm drawn to this one.
Again, we're doing it for Susan.
Right. Okay, so the card is, this is interesting, transformation. A significant, and this is the one that is the tower in the tarot, which is often considered to be tumultuous, but Radley Valentine looks at it a little differently, and I do too personally. It is a transformation. It's like things changing dramatically, a significant life experience that requires changes to be made. Powerful and often unexpected revelations, breaking free of procrastination, releasing old belief systems. So that's the card here for the present, that you're allowing yourself to undergo a transformation. And the archangel is Chamuel.
Oh.
So how does that feel?
That's interesting. Isn't Chamuel considered the archangel of the heart and love?
Yes, yes.
Wow, that feels right on.
And there is Samuel in the card there. Interesting with an hourglass, and that might be explained a little more in the book. But I think what I'd like to do is draw the other two cards first. Is that okay? And we can see how it all goes together. So overall, what I was suggesting is just be real clear on what you want the cards to be. They can be anything you want, which is interesting when you think about it. You can be creative with the way you view the card. So this is the minor arcana, and I have to draw a card for the past. We'll take this one here. And then this is for what to release. And then for the future, in terms of the transformation, how to do it. It's that card. So what to release? This is interesting. This is the Prince of Earth, which is the youthful Earth part. And it says it's scholarly, cheerful, dependable, mischievous. And it's really about the part that stands out without going into what's in the book is scholarly. You know, like, do you tend to feel you need to be scholarly?
Well, probably, yes. I try to keep learning, maybe too much so. There's always something more to learn, and that can be good, but it can also mess you up.
Right, and that's what I kind of sense from this is it's saying, you know, don't look for trying to figure it out. In other words, trying to do it from a scholarly perspective, like you have to have it all figured out and it has to all be rational.
Right.
Kind of let go of that and allow yourself to transform so that you can get to, this is the 8 of air. And this card, I had this card myself recently, which is very interesting. It says the illusion of entrapment, a lack of self-confidence that makes you feel helpless, being afraid to take action. Take responsibility for your life now. And what did what did you say about going through a doorway or something? Did you say? There was something about.
I don't know.
Does anybody remember that, Philip? Did you, when she was talking to you, something about?
I can't remember the exact words. Yeah, something with.
The way that I see this card, and it's a little small here, but she is actually in a gateway. And on the other side of the gateway, there's a sword. If you can see, this is a sword. So I see her moving through the gateway and taking the sword and moving down this narrow path. So it is kind of like going beyond what's limiting her now, grasping the sword and moving down that path. And I mean, in a very positive way. She has a blindfold on. I don't know if you can see it. It's kind of, I don't know. I can't, I can't figure out where to put my hand in.
Yeah.
She has a blindfold on and she's peeking through it. So take off the blindfold and go through the gate. Just imagine breaking through. That's your transformation, breaking through, taking your sword and moving down this new path. Does that make sense?
Oh, yes. I always had this love of Wonder Woman. That's sort of what that kind of reminds me of.
Right, and it is kind of so for the past we have to let go of the need for it to make sense, to be scholarly and rational, and allow yourself to open to a transformation to happiness, into this, where you can just be jumping and swimming and whatever, and go through this portal or gate into a whole new reality where you have more power and everything is clear because you're taking off the blindfold that's prevented you from seeing the possibilities that are there.
Sounds really encouraging.
So a powerful question from NLP, it's called the what if. So what if, Susan, you followed the dolphins, you clicked your heels, you followed the happiness, you let go of the old thoughts and the old ideas and the old ways of having to know certain things. What if you just did that? What might happen?
Who knows? I mean, anything can happen that way. Stop thinking about it.
Right. Stop thinking about it and go into this state of happiness. And you mentioned the childlike playfulness.
Right.
That would be the transformation with the love of Archangel Chamuel, and allowing yourself to move through, to break through into a whole different reality.
Yeah. And just one thought, if you don't mind me mentioning, Susan, maybe this is just a tossing it out there type of idea. It's if you offered other people, would you be interested in having more happiness and being connected with higher beings and dolphins and higher energies and playing around with that? Would that be something that interests you with oracle decks?
That's a good way to put it. Yes.
You might have some takers.
We use readings a lot of times to get ideas for how we want to present things.
Right.
In fact, today, just with the new moon in Aquarius and drawing on that energy, and also knowing that this is a perfect time for you to do this, because the energy, we're in the super moon, new moon, and you have this wonderful opportunity before you.
Yeah.
That's a really good way. I'm glad this is recorded.
Do you have these cards, the Rodley Valentine ones?
I do.
Yeah, yes. So you can go back, and I would suggest also you can read about the cards in the book.
I especially like the gateway.
Yes.
Yes.
Right. Keep letting it come to, keep that open, happy dolphin space, and good things I think will come your way.
Think like a dolphin.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. That's creative. I like that creative thinking.
Yes.
I'm feeling elevated already from that. I'm starting to connect more with that dolphin energy. It's fun and silly too.
Yeah, just think how many people need a more lighthearted approach to life.
For sure. The
question was to draw the present card first, and then from the major arcana, and then the two cards would be the past and then the future
from the minor arcana, with the intention of the past is for what to release, and the one for the future is how you're going to do this. And of course, it could be for yourself, and you said it could be some ideas for how you're going to present it to other people too. So it could be both, to have a theme.
Well, that really gives me a little bubble. So that's good.
Good. Thanks for...
That's what I would love for other people to have too.
Thanks for semi-volunteering there.
For allowing yourself to be volunteered.
Quasi-volunteer.
Anytime.
Okay, thank you, Susan. So were there any just questions or follow-ups to that, or anything people were wondering about? That was a rather elaborate reading, but you just stay in the moment and let your intuition guide you. You're going to say, I don't know. She said, I don't know what it is. Okay, I don't know what it is either. Let's just keep exploring. Don't, I guess it's not working. I don't know where, just, okay, you're going to have that. Go through that, breathe through it, tap through it, keep going, draw the other cards, and see where they take you and sit with it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's
comments or questions on any of that.
I'd like to say something. Is that okay? I think drawing the extra cards And you can do this with any reading, like if you draw a card like the happiness card and you're wondering other questions. Well, I'm not sure, about this or that. Draw a card for those things. Pick 2 or 3 things. I like 3 for some reason, a triad of things to to add to it. And it could be past, present, future related. It could just be anything. And I think what I really partly wanted to communicate with this reading is to be creative with the way you decide what you're going to be including in your reading. We have suggestions. We have readings right in our booklet on it, but you can go in other directions with it too. You can take it further and allow your creativity to enter into the picture of what's in the reading.
So before we do the wrap up, and then Jane is going to stick around for Q&A after hours, were there any questions or comments on anything on the reading or thus far? Maria?
Yeah, I still didn't get the question answered about what was the present, like what was the wording that you use for the present, like to draw the present card.
The happiness card is the energy of the situation, of thinking creatively and opening to your full potential. Like, what energy is going to support me in this? And we got happiness. And then for the present card below it in the tarot, it was what in the major arcana, what card in the major arcana would support that energy.
Okay.
So they both have to do with what that is in the present, and then the past and future cards are further supporting it with more information. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yes, because I just felt like I kept missing, I guess, hearing the present part.
Oh, yeah.
I was doing a reading for myself, and so when I drew a card, I was drawing it for the past. But then you mentioned, okay, now we're going to draw the past card. And I thought, wait, so what am I doing here? So I was confused. I just stopped
That's a good question.
Reading.
Right.
Sometimes the details are helpful to know, the little wording or the specifics. Mm-hmm.
And then the last question I had that I asked earlier for the beginning part that we were doing the tapping with the violet light. And it's not really for me, but if somebody who has never worked with angels or feels weird about calling in angels or things like that, can they still sort of imagine the violet flame and do the tapping and that kind of still work? Or
yes, you don't have to mention angels at all. You can mention that this is an energy. It's the highest vibrational energy in the visual light spectrum, and it transmutes lower frequencies of energy into love and joy. Would you like to try it?
Energy technique. And you can also ask them, do you like to work with angels? Because many people do, or might say, I've never done it before, but it sounds good. And if they like to, well, there's an invitation, permission-based.
Right.
Thank you.
So, any final comments or questions? And there will be after hours for more individual things, or
I think we are.
That's optional.
The end.
Yeah. We're at 10. So
I'll stay around as long as anybody wants to talk about something. So I mean, I know it's hard to maybe get clarity on everything during one of the classes. We cover a lot, and the time goes so fast. But I'm perfectly willing and happy to stay around and chat.
And you'll have the recording, because there were a lot of little details that occurred today. And next time in the next class, next week, is the lab where we'll practice what we were doing today. We'll do another demo and you'll practice with a partner. And then the third class the following week will be the next step of the roadmap, step 5, which is eliminating the holds of the past. And we'll continue to do readings. Jane, anything else before we go into after hours here?
Just it's been a pleasure being with you as always.
Great.
And
we'll end the official recording and stick around optionally for after hours